My pronouns are she, her. I'm your song leader. Today's service explores, on here it's a blank. You get to find out what the service explores when Reverend Christine takes over. Our opening hymn is I'm on My Way. It's 116 in the gray hymnal if you'd like to look, but the words are going to be right up here. Please rise in body or spirit. To say it first, then you echo, but you guys know it so well. All right, please remain standing for our chalice lighting.
Good morning. I am Gary Ezzell. I'm your worship leader this morning, worship associate this morning, and my pronouns are he and him, and welcome to our service about justice. Okay, and Kathy Kim will light our chalice as we say the covenant together. Here she comes. And if you have a chalice at home, friends on Zoom, please join us in lighting it also. There we go. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship. Thus we covenant. Please be seated.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. No matter where you come from, how you worship, how you identify, you are welcome here. Welcome as we explore the mysteries of being human together in community. We are so glad you're here. I am the Reverend Christine Dance. My pronouns are she and her, and it is an honor to serve as the minister here. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. If you are new here, we are so glad you found us. Would you be willing to wave so we can see that who you are if you're new? Welcome, welcome to our newcomers. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to get to know us. And if you would like to learn more about us, if you've been here a few times or only once, this afternoon, right after service, is our Get to Know UUCP session after service. So we have a few announcements about our community. Rather than worry about the upcoming election, get engaged. Okay, maybe worry and get engaged. We are reviving our successful UUCP Good Trouble team to make a difference in the 2024 election. Let's gather as a community to promote our values. If you are interested in learning more about that, watch Compass or email goodtrouble@phoenixuu.org. And the Civic Engagement team tells us that there is an important bill for funding school gardens scheduled for a hearing in the Arizona legislature this week. Please stop by the back table after service to pick up information about how you can help support this bill. Now, let us draw deeper into this present moment and into our worship.
Our opening words this morning are from Desmond Tutu. Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. I now invite anyone who would like to come forward for our Together time.
Thank you, Christine. So good morning, everyone. I get to do Together time this morning. And does anyone know what we're talking about today? They already said it this morning. It starts with a J. Super Bowl, somebody just said. I think that was my wife, and can you show them your t-shirt? It says, Go Taylor's boyfriend. That's who we're rooting for today. Okay, so today's service is, you're either laughing because that's ridiculous or your esteem for us just went up several points, didn't it? Or both. Our service today is about, did you know? It's about justice. Thank you, Luke. Very good. So and does anyone remember, last month we talked about a different principle called equality and equity. We talked a little bit about both. So can anyone describe to me what equality is? Yes, what's equality? Equality is everyone getting the same things. Very, very good. So who knows what equity is? It sounds similar. Of course you do. What's equity? Equity is people getting what they need. It's different than everyone getting the same thing. You get what you need. So then, what is justice? And how is it different from equity and equality? Do you want to take a stab at it? No? Well, so justice is so if equality is everyone's the same, equity is getting what you need, justice is adjusting for the rest of the world and saying, what do we need so that everything is just and truly fair? So, does anyone know that there's an Olympics coming up? Yeah? Does anyone else like the Olympics like I do? Are we summer fans or winter Olympic fans? Both? Both summer? Okay. And what are some of the favorite things that you all like watching in the Summer Olympics? What are some of the gymnastics we like? What? Swimming? Basketball? Okay. What else? Anything else? Does anyone else like track and field? I love watching track and field. So my two of my favorite ones, I do like gymnastics too, are swimming and track and field. And I want to give you a comparison by my mentor and friend, the Reverend Cheryl M. Walker. And she used the Olympics to explain what the difference is between equality, equity, and justice. Okay, so let's look at swimming. Swimming, there is a 50-meter pool that has lanes and stripes in it. Everyone starts at the same time on the same end of the pool, and then you know who wins by who gets to the end of the race at the same time. Now, what's interesting is track and field and swimming both have a 400-meter race, right? So for the 400-meter race, they start at one end, they go back and forth, and you know when you're done as the first one who's done. That is equality. Okay, everyone starts in the same place, everyone ends in the same place. So if you go to track and field, you end at the same place, like there's a line, but the track is round, which means the lanes, some people have to run further if they're on the outside lanes than the people on the inside lanes. What would happen if everyone started at the same line? Would that be fair? Because they wouldn't be running the same distance, right? So what they do is they adjust the starting places on that so everyone starts so that they're running the same distance. And it means that that is the same, they stagger them so that it's the same distance. That's equity, right? We change something so that we make it fair and everyone has the same things. So then here's the question. If we talk about justice, what does every athlete do after they're done swimming or running or doing gymnastics or doing water polo? Do you know what they do? That's what? They should drink water. They should drink water, and they probably should have some food, and hopefully they hug their parents, right? What else do they do? Oh, that is such a good thing to do. They congratulate their other teammates. That is another thing they do. Yes, John? They get drug tested. They go into a room and they pee in a cup. That, my dear friends, is justice. Because they need to make sure they weren't using any illegal drugs that gave them an unfair advantage, right? They needed to make sure that no one had a systemic advantage over somebody else. It's not just making the tracks or the lanes fair, but it's going into the system to make sure that the systemic advantage is not there for one person over another one. So now you can say, when the Olympics come, that's equality, that's equity. I bet they're going to pee in a cup. That's justice. So I hope that that helps make a little bit of a distinction for you all. Thank you all for your help on that. Yes? I think justice would be making the Chiefs not have a racist message or a racist call in that. Yes, and I will say I am watching the Super Bowl and can hold all of the systemic oppressions that are also true in that game. Yes, also true. Thank you. Thank you all for participating. I appreciate you all.
As part of our contribution to these 3 terms, each week we split our offering between this congregation and an organization that shares our values. For February 2024, our Share the Plate partner is UU Jazz, or Unitarian Universalist Justice Arizona. UU Jazz's mission is to engage Arizona Unitarian Universalists in justice making through nurturing congregational social justice ministries, connecting UU activists and congregations across the state, partnering with like-minded justice organizations, and empowering UUs to work for socially just public policy. Today, we are honored to have the brand new co-executive directors, Reverend Sky Williams-Tao, and Stephanie Morales.
Good morning. That was a great welcome. You said a lot of what we had on this paper, so this might be a little shorter than we thought. I'm Stephanie Morales. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am the new co-executive director of programming and partnership at UU Jazz. Outside of this role, I'm a nonprofit leader for another organization. I'm a clinical trauma-informed social worker, and I do some strategic planning and leadership coaching for nonprofits around the Valley. I'm incredibly proud of all my professional work, but I would be most proud of the way I show up as a mom of 3 teenagers, a sister, a friend, a community member, and human.
And I'm Reverend Sky Williams-Tao. I use they, them pronouns. And I'm the new co-director of finance and operations at UU Jazz. And for those who don't know, I have a long history with this congregation. I grew up in the youth programming here, and I was also ordained by this congregation 2 years ago. I've also worked as an accounting associate for the nonprofit community center Ascend, and in ministerial and administrative roles in a number of UU organizations.
We're still pretty new to these roles. I think this week would be officially us entering our 2nd month as the co-executive directors. So we've really taken the time to listen and learn. We're trying to figure out how UU Jazz has been working with congregations, how that has felt, what's been great about that, what has not felt so good. And so now we are ready to kind of put into action what might be best moving forward for us and all of the congregations. One thing we know for certain is that we are going to be extensively working with UU The Vote this year in this very important election year. And so we'll be coordinating with your congregation on how you can get involved. And we're committed to the mission that was stated, which is to engage Arizona Unitarian Universalists in justice making.
So just some examples from our past. UU Jazz has helped our congregations grow our own capacity for caring with the transforming hearts, transgender welcoming, and beloved conversations racial justice classes. We've organized with UU The Vote before to do phone banking and canvassing, working to make some good trouble. And we've improved access to reproductive justice by training OWL sexual education teachers from across the state. Stephanie and I are so excited to continue to build our relationships with our justice partners and with UUs so that we can act collectively to make Arizona and really to make our homes and our communities more loving and just for all of us.
For all that you give to our community and to you, Jazz, we are so grateful. Ushers, thank you for your helping hands and helping us pass the plate.
Christine, I've heard that song a number of times. I've not heard it like that. Nice. It is an important practice in this community to make time to share pieces of our lives with one another. Sharing them together, we can amplify our joys and lessen our burdens. If you're on Zoom and would like to share a joy or sorrow, please type it into the chat with a brief note of what's in your heart today. And if you're in the sanctuary, there are cards in the back. I've got some here. As we open this sacred time to share in community, let us open our hearts to the joys and the sorrows that are shared and those still in our hearts, with a deep breath and a moment of silence. We have some real sorrows and concerns in the congregation that I want to start with. From Lynn McVean, Francis McVean, and Malcolm McVean, all members of UUCP, Lynn writes, "My mom, Sharon McVean, was in a car accident last night and died from her injuries at 80 years old. She is survived by Francis, Lynn, Malcolm, and also by another son and grandchildren, too. We send the McVean family our deepest condolences." And Eric Chapman, who's right over here in the choir, last one on the last row, Eric Chapman says, "My mother died last Thursday. She was very loved by all who knew her." And we at UUCP will have the great privilege to do Eric's mother's memorial service in a few weeks. To you too, we send deep, deep love. We also have online, we've got from Jade in the sound booth, a sorrow that State Bill 1279 is being advanced to make my faith illegal in Arizona. And it's a ban that would ban all satanic imagery and instances in the state, making my religious faith as a Satanist illegal. And for those of you who don't know, the Satanists in our community do a lot of amazing work of separating church and state and making sure that that the government understands the differences between those as well. And we have some joys as well from Sunshine Watson. JoJo made honor roll last quarter, and I started my first contract as a consultant specializing in nonprofit data this week. Congratulations to both of you in the Watson family. And from Danielle, a joy. Last week, Gabrielle participated in her first youth overnight. Gabbo and many of our youth did. She had the most amazing time and can't wait to do it again. Thanks to Katie and all of the adult chaperones who made it happen. It was a fantastic, fantastic weekend. And from Sid online, our dear nephew Oliver has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Sid, we send you and your family. From Michelle Morgan online, one of my dearest friends is again battling a cancer she defeated years ago. And living in the world of cancer, Michelle, we send our love to you, your friend. And we have some joys as well here in the room. Bunny and Dale are right here in the second row, celebrating that 8 years ago on Super Bowl Sunday, we sat together in service and Dale asked me out for our first date. And Jill Hamilton, where's Jill? Jill's right there in the back. Jill says, "Please help me welcome my new grandson, Benjamin Hamilton Grover, to this world. New life brings hope in this challenged world." Congratulations, Grandma. And from the Lifshitz family right here, Colin Lifshitz earned the highest achievement, the Congressional Award Gold Medal. Over 4 years, he has volunteered, been physically fit, and explored. For 2024, there are only 386 awards earned nationally. Our cup overflows with joy. And I understand that Colin is sleeping after a long day of wrestling, as he should. But I know you're proud, but can we take some pride? Like, he's ours, right? He's ours too. That's wonderful. For all of our joys and sorrows, those named and those in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, we send our love to each other here and online. When we are holding so much in our world and in our hearts, it is good to take some time to connect with our body and our spirit. Oftentimes, it can be the only time we get to stop and do this in our busy weeks. Let us soften into the here and now. Oh, I forgot a big one. I had it written down. I'm going to go back. Because I had one job today. Actually, I've got several, but I had one. Our own beloved Robert Eland has been in the hospital. Now, you're not going to believe this. Robert had a ruptured appendix 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago and didn't know. He knew he wasn't feeling well. But it ruptured 6 weeks ago, and there were finally signs of an infection. The doctors are absolutely amazed at how he made it through, and he was still in relatively good shape. He got a whole bunch of antibiotics. There were tons of us who went and visited him in the hospital yesterday. He is going home today, and eventually he may need his appendix out, and we will find new ways to support him. But he is not doing anything to lessen the idea that he is superhuman to us. So please send Robert some deep love and affection as he continues to heal on this. I would have been in big trouble if I forgot that one. So now, let us soften into the here and now with a spirit of meditation and prayer. Relax and settle into this present moment with the words of the Reverend Joe Von Rue. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and yet none at all, our hearts are stretched thin. We see and hear the devaluing of people of color, those with disabilities, of women, of immigrants. This list, incomplete as it is exhausting. And yet, we hold fast because we carry hope in our hearts, hope that together we can dismantle the systems of oppression, hope that the collective of American humanity will look at one another and say, this has got to change. However thin our resilience may be wearing, we do not give up or give in. We look around and we see our friends and our neighbors carrying signs, marching and moving together because we must not give up. We join thousands of people in letter writing, petition signing, in the streets. We move for justice. We live for peace. We will not rest until we are heard. We will not rest until equity is made more real around us. And Spirit of life, we look inside our own hearts to the burning coal that is at the center of our being, the place where our hope for the world lives, the place where our faith in humanity resides, and there There we find the strength and courage to continue moving forward, however muddy and rough the path may be. So might it be in our hearts, in our actions, and in our minds. We who believe in freedom shall not rest. Amen, and blessed be.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Elder, and I use she, her pronouns. This morning, the choir will be presenting Ella's Song by Bernice Johnson Regan. Regan is one of the founders of Sweet Honey in the Rock and is described as being a major cultural voice for freedom and justice, speaking out against racism and organized inequities of all kinds. The text or lyrics of Ella's song are taken directly from the words of civil rights activist Ella Baker. It would be impossible to name all of the ways that Baker forged a path towards equal rights in our country, but just to name a few of her accomplishments. She was a crucial figure in the NAACP, the Nonviolent Student Coordinating Committee, and was co-founder of In Friendship, an organization that raised money to fight against Jim Crow laws in the Deep South. Her nickname was Fundi, which is a Swahili word that means a person who teaches a craft to the next generation. And through her words in Johnson's song, we bring her teachings to you today. You will hear several wonderful soloists on this piece: Susan Finney, Donna Featherston, Christine Dance, Karen Quinn, Susan Morris, and our wonderful djembe player, Carol Benwell.
We who believe in freedom.
no man's word. Oh, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
My goodness. This congregation engages in justice work in many ways. Today, I want to highlight one thing that I and many others are involved in and have been involved in, which is our Maryland School Partnership. Maryland is a K through 8 school on 21st Avenue, almost due west of here. Many of the kids are of color. For many, English is a second language. It was a needy population when I started tutoring there in 2017, and COVID just did a number on those kids. Kathy Kim, who lit our chalice this morning, coordinates the volunteers, 17 of whom are members here. You see the names up there. Besides me, there are others from this year and last. Kathy is also responsible for something really quite remarkable. She has set up an outdoor classroom there, and here are some photos of that. Kathy writes, "One of the most interesting and rewarding things about being with the class outside in the garden is their responses to what they are experiencing. The different shapes and textures of leaves, the smell of herbs, how things can change so quickly or take so long to change. All the insects, worms, butterflies. It is especially heartwarming to watch students with behavior management issues, academic struggles, neurodiversity, respond with delight and wonder, intense focus, and develop this ability to work together and succeed and develop a relationship with nature." Now, what I do there is tutoring. And tutoring there involves working one-on-one or with small groups. And I've asked some of the volunteers who have been doing that to share some of their experiences. Now, Smoot Carl Mitchell shared that he had been working with 4 7th graders on basic math skills. They were about at 4th grade level. The topic that day was one of your favorites, adding fractions. He showed them the rote method and also showed them why it worked. And he wrote, "I remember the look on one very earnest girl's face as I finished the explanation. I could see the moment when she got it. It was like literally seeing the light bulb go on over her head. Frankly, it was a great moment for me and for her." And he continues, "I think the important thing in that moment was not so much that she learned to add fractions, but rather that I hoped it helped her own self-esteem a little bit, and that she recognized she had value, even if she was behind others in her class in some basic math skills." Jan Kaplan wrote, "Last year I had a 3rd grader who was a smart little guy, but just could not write. It was a scribble. The thing was, he had spent those formative years during COVID time sitting at home pecking on a computer with 2 fingers, and he had never developed the finger skills, the finger muscles, in order to learn how to write. He didn't really even understand how to hold a pencil. We tried all kinds of things to make it fun, and a very proud moment came when his teacher said, 'His handwriting is so much improved, and he's up to speed.'" There is just a black hole of need in the classroom, and it seems that most of the kids don't have home environments that foster learning or filling in the gaps. It takes a village. Chris Seashore wrote, I believe most children feel safe at Maryland and that their teachers care about them. Having positive relationships with adults is key to kiddos believing in themselves, and working in small groups helps achieve that very effectively, more effectively, and in a more personal way. Having a listening ear for the hopes and worries, while learning to multiply fractions and solve equations, I hope builds some resilience and trust. That's all I have done and all I can hope to do. And finally, Eileen Paddock wrote, I tutor one second grader to improve her reading fluency and comprehension. In my last meeting with her before the 2-week holiday break, she said, Miss P, I've told my mom all about you. You're the best reading teacher in the world, and I love you. And she said this while giving me a tiny hug. At the end of our session, I went to my car and cried. My time with her at Maryland has been incredibly meaningful and rewarding. My 30-year business career doesn't come close. Now, we know there are big systemic problems with education in Arizona, and we need to engage with those. But also, these individual relationships are indeed meaningful and rewarding for the kids we touch and for us. To repeat that opening quote from Desmond Tutu, do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good that overwhelm the world.
Created this arrangement of the spiritual Hold On. Like many spirituals, Hold On is thought to have multiple meanings. The lyrics, keep your hand on that plow, might be referring to the plow as a symbol for the Big Dipper, which points towards the North Star, lighting the way towards freedom. The song encourages the singer and the listener, don't look back, keep working for freedom, justice, and the better things that are surely on the other side.
In the signature of my email is a quote. It's a quote from Dr. Cornel West, a professor, philosopher, and activist. I've always loved the quote that he is most known for. Never forget that justice is what love looks like in public. I'm proud to have that quote on all of my emails because it's the epitome of my Unitarian Universalist faith for me. Love is the center of my faith, and justice is what happens when we love out loud. This year, we are exploring the new values that are being proposed by the Unitarian Universalist Association. These new values would replace our 8 principles that have been around since 1985. Each month, we're exploring a different principle. Each principle has a one-word handle, a one-sentence description, and then a call to action. It also has a color. This month is yellow. Thank you very much to our internal folks using our Arizona citrus as inspiration. We have already explored love at the center, pluralism, and equity. For February, we are exploring justice. Justice. We work to be a diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. Will you read it out with me, starting with the word justice? Justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. So let's break that down some. Because justice is a complicated word in that it means different things to different people, and because it is so hard to achieve. Like Dr. West, I think of justice as a verb, like love, a verb that we are constantly doing, not a destination where we arrive some mythical day. It's an ideal that many of the systems and structures in our world are directly working against. It is the result of the love that is at the center of our faith. If we love without working for justice, then our love is shallow and selfish. It also uses the term beloved community, but I wonder if we all know what it means or can really break that apart. The term beloved community was first expressed by Josiah Royce, who's a philosopher and professor at Harvard. He used it in 1913. Royce wrote, "My life means nothing, either theoretically or practically, unless I am a member of a community." He observed that besides the actual communities we experience in our daily lives, there was also an ideal, beloved community made up of all of those who were dedicated to the cause of loyalty and truth. Royce did not see the community as a static object, but as an all-embracing, radical idea of unity for the entire human race. But the term beloved community became much more known when the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who studied philosophy and must have studied Royce's work, used it in action. He wrote about beloved community in his Facing the Challenge of a New Age in 1956. King said, "But the end is reconciliation. The end is redemption. The end is the creation of a beloved community. It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform oppressors into friends. It is this kind of understanding and goodwill that will transform the deep gloom of the old age into the exuberant gladness of the new age. It is this love which will bring about miracles. So, beloved community is not just about community, but a deep creation, understanding, and transformation through community. And both Royce and King intended the beloved community to be racially oriented, but I love that our denomination is intentionally calling it out to be multicultural. And then the new value combines two elements of our existing principles for its call to action. It first uses the language of the 8th principle, which this congregation adopted in 2020, to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. And then it takes the language of the current 5th principle to support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decision. I love how clever the writers were with this, because it's not just enough to have democratic processes. I believe that our old principles fell short in just naming democracy alone, because we know that democratic processes can be representative and still be oppressive. Majority rule is not necessarily just. No, this is saying that democracy is still the ideal way to run ourselves as a congregation, as a denomination, and as a country, but that we must use that democracy to create that beloved community and dismantle racism and systemic oppression. If we are democratic but not working for justice, then we are not doing our full job. Now, I know you all know I could preach about justice every single darn week and still not get to all of the opportunities and nuances of justice. As it's a verb and a mindset and never a destination, it is both our opportunity and our joy to make it a part of our daily existence. So let me just call out one way that we can work for justice within the words of this principle, to build a multicultural, beloved community that dismantles the systems of racism and oppression. We can't build that community if we are just here in this building talking about the people who are affected by oppression and racism. We must get proximate. It is Brian Stevenson of the Equal Justice Initiative who has taught me the most about getting proximate. EJI works within the justice system to overturn the sentences of those who have been wrongly convicted. He is also behind the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, otherwise known as the Lynching Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. If you ever get the chance to go to it, go. It will change your life. Stephen says this about getting proximate. I think sometimes when you're trying to do justice work, when you're trying to make a difference, when you're trying to change the world, the thing you need to do is get close enough to people who are falling down. Get close enough to people who are suffering, close enough to people who are in pain, who've been discarded and disfavored, to get close enough to wrap your arms around them and affirm their humanity and their dignity. This is exactly what's happening with our involvement with the Maryland school that Gary explained. This is what UU Jazz is striving to do, to get us more proximate with the people and the organizations doing work here in Arizona. And that is one of the most important ways to continue to love in public. It is also part of UU the Vote in reaching out one to another to get proximate to change the world through our democracy. Stevenson also said that we need to stay hopeful about justice even when it's complicated. Of course it's complicated. If justice were easy, it would be a destination and we'd surely be there by now. But as an action, as a verb, it is something that we are always incorporating into our lives. It is a lens for how we see the world. It is an invitation to think outside of ourselves. And it is an invitation itself. Because beloved community is not something we're creating for someone else to benefit from. The whole idea of beloved community is that we all benefit when we are making the circle wider, when we are breaking down hate, and when we are filling it with love. Justice is the result of love being at the center of who we are. Justice is a verb that we are living into each and every day. Justice makes us all free. Justice, it's what love looks like in public. May it be so.
Yes, may it be so. Amen. We are closing with the hymn, "We Are Building a New Way," by Martha Sandifer. The words will be on the screen for you. Rise, please, and listen as Christine gives us an intro. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new day. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Thank you. As we close our service, I invite you all to reach out to someone new who you haven't met before or seen for a while. Our Exploration Hour activities for children and adult will start at noon and will be on the screen behind us. And remember that there is a Get to Know UUCP for those who would like to learn about us in room 11. Now, go and make your love public. May justice be your state of mind, and together may we create that beloved community that we all dream of. Go in peace, go in love.